Hello, everyone. Today, I'll be speaking about the 13 behavior speech and my interpersonal communication strengths and weaknesses within one specific relationship, my relationship with my partner. This relationship means a lot to me, and through this course, I've become more aware of how my communication can either bring us closer or push us apart. My goal in this speech is to reflect honestly on how what I do well and where I struggle, and how I can use our course concept or research based strategies and the 13 behaviors to communicate with more empathy, patience, and emotional awareness. The purpose of the speech is to analyze how I communicate during emotionally intense moments and identify the strengths and weaknesses that show up the most. The importance of this reflection is that during conflicts, I tend to respond with logic instead of emotional understanding. While my intention is to help solve the problem, this approach often makes my partner feel unheard and invalidated. By understanding how my behaviors align with concepts like listening, perception, emotional regulation, and conflict management, I can shift from poor communication habits to healthier, more supportive ones. So, today I will discuss two strengths, two weaknesses, and research based steps I'm taking to improve our communication. I like to begin with the two strengths I bring into my relationship when it comes into interpersonal communication. My first strength that I'll be sharing is active listening when regulated. One strength I have is active listening, but only when I'm emotionally regulated. When I'm calm, I paraphrase and reflect what my partner's saying, which helps her feel validated. For example, when she's talking about challenges involving her parents, I'll summarize what she tells me by saying something like, so you're feeling unsupported and overwhelmed. When I do this, her body language softens and she opens up more because she feels understood. Um, According to our textbook, um, active listening means responding in a way that demonstrates understanding of both the content and emotional meaning. This is also directly tied to one of the first 13 behaviors, listen first, which emphasizes understanding before responding. Listening first is a core behavior that helps build trust and demonstrate respect, which reduces emotional distance. The second strength I demonstrate in our relationship when it comes to interpersonal communication is nonverbal support. During emotionally heavy moments, I often soften my tone, maintain eye contact, and use relaxed, open posture to show that I'm present and that I am not judging her. For instance, one evening my partner came home extremely stressed. Instead of diving into conversation right away, I put my phone away, sat beside her, and talked with her slowly and gently. That small shift in nonverbal communication helped her feel safe enough to share how overwhelmed she had been feeling at work. Um, Bergen, Guerrero, and Floyd explain that nonverbal behavior significantly shape emotional meaning and connection. This aligns with the 13 behavior demonstrate respect because nonverbal signals often communicate support more powerfully than words. While these strengths help our relationship, I also have communication weaknesses that create misunderstanding and emotional distance. Um, One of those weaknesses is responding with logic instead of emotion. One of my major communication I have is responding with logic instead of emotion. When my partner expresses feelings like stress or sadness, I often jump into problem solving mode instead of validating what she feels. I start trying to fix things rather. A very common example is when she says, I feel overwhelmed. Instead of acknowledging her emotions, I immediately break down her schedule or suggest solutions. Even though I'm trying to help, this approach makes her feel dismissed. And so, according to our textbook, uh, misinterpreting emotional messages is a perception barrier that can lead to relational disconnection. This weakness also violates the behavior listen first because I react instead of understanding. It violates clarify expectations as well as I assume she wants solutions when in reality she just wants emotional support. My second weakness is getting defensive during conflicts. Another weakness that shows up often is my defensiveness. When my partner expresses frustration, even if it's not directly aimed at me, I sometimes take it personally and react by defending myself instead of listening. For example, when we talk about dividing household responsibilities, I might respond with comments like, "Well, I did a lot yesterday," instead of acknowledging her feelings about the imbalance in the household. This immediately shuts down the conversation. According to Canary and Mesman, emotional regulation is essential in de-escalating relational conflicts. My defensiveness violates the behavior practice accountability because instead of acknowledging my part, I protect myself, which prevents her from feeling safe enough to express her needs. Understanding these weaknesses has shown me that I have real work to do, so I want to share the steps I'm going to take to grow. So my first strategy is practice perception checking. One of the major ways I'm working to improve is by practicing perception checking. This means pausing before reacting and verifying what my partner means. Asking questions like, what I'm hearing is what you feel. Overwhelmed, is that right?" Um, our textbook perception says perception checking reduces misunderstanding, especially during emotional conversations. This supports the 13 behaviors talk straight because being honest about what I understand or don't creates a clear line of communication. My second strategy is increase emotional awareness and reduce defensiveness. I also am working on recognizing my emotional triggers so I can respond rather than react. When I feel defensiveness, I remind myself to confront reality and practice accountability. Gottman and Silver explain that healthy conflict relies on emotional regulation and repair attempts. This means acknowledging her feelings first and focusing on repair rather than justification. Behaviors such as right or wrongs confronts reality help guide me towards more open and accountable communication. My third strategy is clarify expectations and keep commitments. Another step I'm taking is to clarify expectations instead of assuming we're on the same page. This means restating agreements clearly, such as "I'll handle dinner tonight," or texts that we have talked about beforehand, just to keep things straight. In the textbooks, clear expectations reduce frustration and unmet assumptions. Paired with the 13 behaviors, keep commitments and deliver results. This step helps create predictability and emotional safety in the relationship. My fourth strategy is active listening and create a safe space to share. My final strategy is to focus on extending trust and actively listening rather than searching for solutions. I want to respond in ways to show that I value her feelings before offering advice. This supports the behavior's extended trust and demonstrates respect. This creates a safe space where she can express her emotions without fear of being dismissed. These growth strategies are helping me become a more supportive communicator and a better partner. So, in conclusion, um, I discussed two communication strengths and um, two communication strengths: active listening when I'm regulated and supportive nonverbal communication, and two weaknesses: responding with logic instead of emotion and defensiveness during conflict. I also outlined the strategies I am implementing based on our course concepts and research-based strategies, as well as the 13 behaviors. By applying behaviors like listen first, practice accountability, and keeping commitments, I'm working towards creating a more emotionally safe, trusting, and supportive environment for both my partner and myself. Communication is something I'm committed to improving, not just for this assignment, but for the long term health of our relationship. So, thank you for listening. This is my 13 behavior speech. Thank you.